Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. I don't even deserve a Susan spin today because what I did was what I ordinarily do, but I started cutting into my own stuff, okay? Which was, I took the rear axle completely apart to see what the whole, how the, everything just falls out. Everything falls out. To see how this mechanism functions, right? I wanted to see what the ASD looked like because all the sum total of what I can find on the internet is a little exploded view showing the front axle ASD installation and the transmission ASD installation, both in parentheses optional, that come in the AXI 1207 underscore manual underscore ML.pdf. Basically the manual for the APX, I always want to say AXP8 for the Gilamon. Now, it all came down to this. I was hunting for this. If you don't know what this is, here is the core of the front axle. You see these little guys, one has kind of slid out and one hasn't. Those are the lockers that actually go in and lock the axle. Those are what disengage, but they're not. Those are the lockers. Those get replaced by this little two-piece combo here. Please don't roll away on me. Please don't roll away on me. Gets replaced with this little two-piece combo that goes like that. They're handed. We have one side that faces out and one side that faces in. I was befuddled. I was wandering around. I thought this was one piece. And this is the piece we need to take out of the gearbox and put into the rear axle. So, we can, as people have pointed out to me on the internet, I've been at this for about an hour, so you're definitely hopping in midstream. I have been at this about an hour trying to figure out what goes where, because as I said, an exploded view is all you get. And it says, servo not included, but that's not all. Okay? Because I contacted the gentleman owner of this vehicle and I asked him, was there anything else in the box before you sent it? And he said no. So, it's a piece that looks something like this, and it has two little wiggly bits, something like this, but they have a little tab on them that slides into this notch. This is from an LCXU. This does not fit the Gilamon gearbox. So without this, you're not putting this on this. Without this mount bracket, you're not doing it. So, it is my pretty much conclusion at this point. Axial does not sell that part separately. So you're going to have to spend $80. You can move the stuff over, but then you won't have a servo to actuate it with. Now, that's not a problem for me. That's not an issue. I actually indeed can do that. Now, what I don't know is what I'm doing. Like I say, the bearings that go inside of the center spool and the lockers in the axles, they just fall apart every time you touch them. So that guy goes like that. Now, what holds that in place? I am just going to try to loosely assemble this. Okay, I need both of these for the rear axle. This is going to go there. I'm looking for the little castle bit. Okay. Okay, those bearings all fell out. That goes like that. This goes like this. Okay, all right. So now we have recreated sort of the unit that came out of the rear axle. Okay, and then this goes here. No, I'm flipped around. There we go. There we go. All right. Because I have nothing to go by. All right. So we've got it sitting in there. Where's my picture? I need my picture. All right. Okay. I'm looking at what I think I should be looking at. And then the arm goes out the front. So this goes in like this. Now what I don't understand, what's not clicking in my head, is how do these little slidey rings, how do they work? I guess they go like that. Okay, another bearing fell out again. I'm going to need a good long minute. Okay, so it just kind of floats, right? We can turn this. These guys were the ones that were throwing me off. A couple things. Little castle guy goes into a little indent, but then he just kind of sits there. And then this side of this gear, there's no bearing on that shaft. It just, let's see if I can slide it off without pulling the whole apparatus apart. It just passes through a big hole. There's no bearing that goes there. Again, I have one line drawing to operate off of. So, now we've removed that. And you can see the galleys in there pretty good. And then this goes like this. And you have to make sure, you have to make triple sure. There's a little rubber guy, and he goes over that notch. It has to sit in that notch. And then we are going to put this back down. We're going to make sure, okay. Let me get a little grease off of there. Okay. And now we've got buttons right there. 12 buttons because the gearbox is friendly. And I will get these 2 screws into it so I feel like I can comfortably set it down. All right. And then that goes like that. And then this is going to go over it like that. Yes. Okay. We should be safe. So this is really reminiscent of the old Losi comp crawler gearbox, which had selectable. You could unlock, but because it was worm drive, it didn't actually have to have the parts of the dig mechanism. The worm drive stopped everything from moving. So all it had was a thing that could disengage one end from the other. This one has the same thing. So you can lock out one end to the other. So if we go to the back, nothing happens. And if we go to the front, nothing happens. Now there it goes. I heard that click. Okay. So to the front, we've got burn, and then we push. Okay, I can't get it to do anything to the rear. Yeah, there's definitely a second click to the front, but nothing to the, I can't. All right, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna keep tinkering with it until I can find out if something isn't exactly right. No, that's exactly how I have the parts installed. Yeah, I can't get the rear to engage at all. And then if we go to the middle, we have full engagement. Okay. I'm going to get that to work. I'm pretty confident. So, I am going to put the axles back together. I had to pull the front. I had to take both axles apart to figure out these guys. So I think it was Sade was playing some Sade in here. Why not? I'm going to get the 2 axles put back together, Then I'm going to figure that out. And then we're going to build our own bracket to hold the servo. And then hopefully it's going to behave a little better than most axial digs do. It's so many screws. I make no exaggeration when I say like 70 screws have to go back in right now. So, you know, reassembly is the reverse of disassembly and vice versa. Putting the axles back together is no real problem. There's only one thing to pay attention to. Do you recall when I may or may not have said that you don't have to take the portal boxes off to get the stubs out? I just kind of wanted to see what the inside of them looked like, so maybe I said it in my head. The 2 screws that go into the portal box right there are different from all the other screws. They're slightly longer, like 2 millimeters longer. Don't accidentally put them in anywhere else. They will impact the drive shaft and it will stop moving. So there's only 4 of that length. I think they're M3x6s, it looks like, and the others are like M3x4s or 5s. They're really short little stubby guys. So the issue that I was having here is that this little guy, the little crown, only has 3 prongs in it. There are little indentations. You can see them in the galleys there. There's one at the bottom that's kind of half onto each pane. You can see that little groovy guy. He holds it in place, and that's what allows this to slide back and forth. It goes into those little openings. So it's a little bit of threading a needle while on a roller coaster because it's all together, and as soon as you're trying to set it in place, everything is trying to rotate and fall out. Then once you've got it, you hold it very delicately because you want to make sure, again, that those 2 guys are on their little grooves. These guys are into their little grooves. And then we'll set this down. And then everything should be good. And might as well, yeah. Be sure you have a clean and orderly area if you are going to attempt to tackle this, because it's a little bit of a thing. It's a little bit of a thing. And you know, the first time I ever built a Vanquish VFD, I felt like I was assembling a clock. This has there's a little similar vibe there. And we didn't even have to get into the heart of the gearbox. That is the nice part, that the whole dig mechanism is, I think that one's actually supposed to be a 10, because that went all the way through, sort of into my finger a little bit. But I remember them all being 12. Anyway, we're just going to get it put back together. I am going to fabricate the bracket, because the way we're going to do that is in the way that we know how, which is build it in place. So what we're going to do is we're going to build it in place. I have a look. Yeah, there we go. Now, the springs are pretty soft. I know that they have heavier springs. I don't know why. In my head, I thought it was going to be some big old spring inside there. No, it's just the spring on this little slider guy. So now if we push it to the back, yes, indeed, locked out. Unlocks relatively easily. If we pull it to the front, locks out. And when we let it go, see it pop back. It's going to kind of do the same thing that axial digs do. Like if I push that down, it stays. So if we get it to lock, see it's not all the way out? It's gonna jam. It's gonna jam. Spring return for dig is, how do we phrase this? It's not the recommended method. Mechanical, just a mechanical arm that holds things in place, not relying on the springs. Okay. So, fun note. These little pins, the little pegs that come up. Let's see if if we're going to have to make an early cut. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Because this needs to be recessed back a little. Oh, no, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. Oh, this is going to be cake. Let me see. Is that the direction they have it? They have spline out to that side. Yes. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this is in four-wheel drive. And it is. So that is at neutral. And that's basically how we're going to do this. I'm going to make some little marks. We're going to get this thing centered, just like that. We're going to make some little marks. I'm going to cut off a bunch of extra aluminum. I'm going to find my little ears. I'm going to mount my little servo mount tabs like this. And then we'll have a nice little dig bracket cut down as small as we can get. Yeah, this looks exactly like theirs. They have some cutouts on it. I will just try to replicate it a little bit. Yeah, I think I can copy this. They have it cut away so that I guess this comes a little close at some point in the swing. Fabrication bit. This is quite literally. This is a 20-minute job to make one of these, and luckily I only have to do it once, and then hopefully the servo should just do what it did before. That's why it runs a big saver on it, because to my knowledge there isn't any really specific way to set your endpoints. I will get that cut. We will do a little test of it. I'll plug everything in and we'll test it before I put the gearbox in. We'll test it by just having that actuate. Then we'll slap it together and we'll go out and we'll drive it and we'll see if it was worth the hullabaloo. And then if we can get it to go back and forth on the bench with dig and burn operating, we'll spin Susan just as a little bit of a treat. I may have gone a little bit over my 20-minute estimate because I could have sworn that the holes for the actual brackets to mount the servo were 2.5, M2.5. They were M3. So I had to take it back and re-countersink them. Did I need to countersink them from the bottom? Not at all. Did I do it anyway? Yes. Am I still worried that that is going to be too far? Where did I put the gauge? Is that going to be too far over? No, there's a ton of room in there. Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out one way or the other. Battery. We'll just grab a random battery. We don't know if, honestly, I don't know if any of this is going to function. We're going to get some clunk out of the drive shafts because, yeah, I say. Oh, let me, give me a tire. Give me a tire with a wheel. Well, I don't necessarily need a wheel in it. We'll just tusk it. We'll tusk it. There we go. Yeah, no more clunk. Okay. Okay. I have one grump. I have one grump. And that grump is, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the DX3 from the beginning, but we've got AB on this little guy. So that locks the back and that locks the rear. So, oh, there it goes. So I would want it to where if I push down is the back and up is the front. But it's reverse. It's inverted controls. Now, whether or not it will be able to disengage itself with these big fellas attached, that is what we hope to see. That's what we're going to find out. Let's find out one of the most important things, which is my servo bracket going to clear the cage? It looks like it will. So we're going to have to go over it like that. Tuck this wire up in here. I like to try to aim this toward the battery tray a little bit. That side over. Just drop down. Drop down. Grab it a little more. Nope. Okay, it's not. It does. Nope. There it goes. Hey! I think. Oh, that might have been a premature A. I need to turn this over, and I need to do this. I tell you, these shocks leak more than a little. They leak more than a little bit. I don't know if the contrast picks it up. There's little, like, I can just feel it from the handling. Now, it does not appear that my bracketry interfered in any way. You kind of gotta, I'm just going by the direction that the tires have some wear on them. You kind of gotta get you drop the cage down from the top. Well, you kind of hinge it over to clear that dig bracket. And then you gotta attack it from the bottom. Because there's two little tabby fellas on the bottom of the chassis that that kind of nicely notch into the cage, like alignment marks. Kind of. There's another little fresh splotch of oil. That's even running them upside down. And for better or worser, for worser or betterer, it doesn't really leak from any one particular location. Any joint, any interface, shaft to cap, cap to body, inner, like the eye mount that goes inside the metal cap leaks there. They leak everywhere. They're made. Oh, there's plenty of room. We will not be able to see. Wait, where's my very overly bright flashlight? Hopefully this won't blow out our imagery. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. There's plenty of room. I wish that wasn't quite so bright. What if I go through the panel? You can see it a little. Doesn't really help. Yeah, there's plenty of room in there. I had nothing to worry about. I didn't even need to reduce that mount down as much as I did. At least it doesn't look at it. I've got a little bit of charge left in this Adventure 3600. It is probably about, it's above half. And above half is enough for us. So let me get this wire situated a little bit. Try to get the battery strap. I would personally just run Velcro on the packs, Velcro in the tray. Yeah, that wire's up a little high there. We'll turn this on. And now we will get to see if our successes continue with it moving. Okay. It's a bit of... someone pointed out in the last installment that this was here, that the tie rod went top on this side, but then it was middle on this side, or vice versa. No, that link was to the top. This end was reversed. I put it back, and it does have quite a bit of toe in. If you flip those, it takes that toe in away. I just ran it like it came. Okay, let's see here. So if I push up, that's back. Hey, all right. All right. When I let it go? Nice. Nice. Okay. I'm not mad at it. All right, little burn action. Yeah, due to the weight distributions that we've got, I have still not figured out... Oops, sorry, friend. We got to give it a little clack. So, not surprising, but to me, that almost doesn't matter, because I push that to engage, just immediately disengages.
Dig is what's important. We're going to have to see it loaded. We're going to have to see if it gets bound on a sense. But you know what? We've earned it. We've earned it. You and I, together as a group, we've earned it. Everybody, we did it, everybody. That was more arduous than it needed to be. I hope that people, if they only have one, we're going to run it. If we only have one takeaway, it's that take the gearbox out, take the gearbox apart, take the rear axle apart, take the pieces that are in the gearbox and put them in the back, the little sleevey guys. The sleevey guys are critical, and make sure the little 3-prong crowns are like this, one at the bottom and one on each side, nothing at the top. It will stop the actuation. It seems it's a little hard to disengage the burn. What if we do back up and dig? No, the dig hops right out. So to me, dig is way more important than the burn, though. I like the option. I like having it. It would be nice if it would disengage. Yeah, you can't do it from the servo. Yeah, you can. Well, you kind of can. But if you were trying to hold a spot on a hill, it will just hold that burn in. And what if I... No, it's a mechanical. It's a mechanical. So, hey, half the way there is all the way there, particularly when we're talking about Axial historically and their dig units. I mean, you could have a pretty spirited debate about which Axial gearbox has the worst dig unit in it. I think it's OG Capra. I think it's original Capra box. I can't speak to the new one. The new one with more reduction. I've not tried it. But I have to say OG Capra had the dig was almost vestigial. Now, I would give the nod to worse gearbox to the 10-3 coffee grinder. The 2-speed is worthless, and the dig is faintly more reliable than the one in the Capra. So the fact that I can do this, lock it and let it go and it just comes out, that is like those little, you need to pull those little pop, and the little confettis will come out. That's a victory for Axial. And then again, the constant swinging of a pendulum. We're in the pit and the pendulum is above us and it swings away and it goes, hey man, the dig is functional. And you can just switch the parts over. Then it swings back this way and it goes, it doesn't come with a servo bracket or any mechanism to mount the bracket there. And it swings back the other way. If you buy the kit, then you'll get the bracket. And then it swings back this way. Yeah, but now you'll have you'll have an ASD unit in the rear and you just bought the dig. So now you get to pick which one the radio controls. So now now you got to buy a new radio. And then it swings back this way. Oh, well, what about one in the front? Now we got to drop another $80. Then it swings back the other way. Would we be able to get the burn to disengage automatically if we used a more powerful servo? Probably not. I think it's actually the springs. We need heavier springs. Well, then we're definitely going to need a more powerful servo. And then the next thing you know, you've spent a significant amount of money. But I'll let go of the money thing. If that dig is reliable on the rock, that's a soft pass on the day for Gilamon's ability to run dig burn. We'll try it out. We'll see what it'll do. I don't know. Historically, as I said, Axial dig, not counting the LCXU. LCXU, fantastic. LCXU also doesn't rely purely on springs to keep it engaged. So when the servo pulls back, there's more mechanical force holding than what that tiny little pen spring can overcome. And there will definitely be a point of diminishing returns. You can put a heavier spring in, and then at some point, the little micro servo, and there's going to be going, please stop doing this to me. So we're going to go do it to it right now. Axial Gilamon with dig burn. Will it feel more versatile, more useful than a single axle's worth of ASD? I feel like it has to, right? Thankfully, I managed to get everything out here set up before the radio started hollering at me. Now, I tried a little dig action on the way back, and I was getting fairly consistent disengagement, but I did have a couple times where it didn't disengage. So let's try heading right here. And now I'm too far wide, so I want to pull it over. Okay, good. Nice, very good. Okay. That is quite well and truly precisely what I want to see. Okay, let me see if I can. Do you hear fast beeping? Was the battery more dead than I thought? I think that might be the case. Yeah, when I said half a charge, I was talking about a Genzace 3600. That was my 4300. That battery's dead. That's like 3.3 volts per cell. That one is asleep. Dig it? That's asking a lot of pull. Burn? Okay, nose up, the burn disengaged. Okay. So there's a little bit of a gravity component, not unexpectedly. Let me find, okay, let me get right here. Then up his dig. Yeah, there is a distinct gravity component. So when descending, can we wrap it around? Let me see if I can do a wrap here. Yeah, see, will not engage. And the crazy part is, I guess it's the little double-sided mechanism, the little slider fella. You can hear it pop into its socket from 20 feet away. Yeah, if you're not nose down, they'll pop right out. So we go. As soon as we go nose down, watch, we'll get down here. That I could hear the pop. It's definitely better than Axial units we've seen in the past. The burn, on the other hand, has to be, and listen, clack, has to be nose up to disengage. The dig is like 85% of the way there. I'm gonna guess that with the heavier springs and a more powerful servo, we're good. There it is. There it is. Can you hear it? The pendulum swinging back and forth. You can make the dig pretty good. You can just throw more money at it. You can make the dig pretty good, but you gotta buy a whole dig mechanism and put it in the gearbox. $80. Then after you spend the $80, you have to get the heavier springs. If the dig unit comes with the heavier springs, let's assume that it does, so that doesn't cost additional. Swings back the other way. I would not. I don't know if I would even throw Enduro 2065s at it. I think I'd be looking at something in the 9 to 11 kg range. AGFRC A20s, Flash Hobby 1227s. Reef 99s, et cetera, et cetera. That sort of like more NSDRC RS 100s, the more powerful micros, which are typically $60 a piece, $50 to $60 a piece. Now your two kits
and then re-springing and re-servoing all of them. Again, I said I was going to Elsa and let it go, but I can't, because that's 150 in servos and let's shoot for the middle. We'll call it 170 in servos and 80 and 80, 160 in dig units. That's $330. And basically, that's on top of what the rig sits at right now. Ooh, I went a little Seinfeld there. What are we doing? Yeah, see, nose down. Little reverse, unclack it. Yeah, it is imperfect. I mean, that's fun. It will not disengage. You have to go into reverse. So we've got about I'll go as far as to say 55% functionality out of the burn. And we've got about an 80% functionality out of the dig. That's a problem. That's a problem, because that's straight loot sitting out there. You will, for those interested, I mean, how good are full-size ruptures? Really? Oh, that's the wrong way. How good are full-size ruptures? Really good. Yeah, that downhill dig. To me, dig is a tool. It's useful. There is a versatility to it. But if that tool, like, say you have a shovel, and instead of having that little interface, the part with a wooden handle thump, inserts into the head of the shovel, instead of that, there's a universal joint, right? So now you have this weird floppy-headed shovel. But it came with a little tool, and you can tighten it down and lock that little universal out, and then every once in a while, it just goes floppy again, and you ask yourself, why am I not just using a regular shovel? So there's an imaginary pendulum, man. I want double DSD, ASD, and dig. I want all of the little unlockable things. I want to be able to make one tire move just because I can. I don't know exactly how much versatility it's going to have. But then, you know what? Throw four-wheel steer. Buy the other axle. Spend the other $140. Why not? You know, see if you can't get it close to $2,000. Just crank down, man. Go all in. Push all the chips to the middle of the table. Go all in. I don't like the DLC aspect. Again, $450 for a kit. I'd buy it today. Why couldn't they just at least include the bracket for the servo in the RTR? Just throw that in there. And then maybe, just maybe, a page in the manual that says, here's how to put the one end in the middle, and then the parts from the middle in the other end. This is definitely, and this is, I don't think this is subjective. Dig, with a, what did we have? 135 divided by 2. We have a 67-ish, so let's round it up. We have a 68% effective dig burn in the gearbox if we add the 2 and divide it in half. I will take that over a basically non-functional ASD all day. Honestly, I kind of don't, except for the parlor trick of it, I don't understand why you wouldn't just ship this with the dig installed. It works better. These are all of the OE pieces. Heavier springs and a better servo, it's probably going to work even better still. this is far more functional. And for those interested, you will see, at minimum, one more Gilamon installment as somewhere in an ethereal, mysterious plane that exists between, and I don't mean plane as in, I mean like a place where things that live that we don't really have a like an upside down. Somewhere on that plane exists the overdrive and underdrive gears for the portal boxes. I want to put the underdrive in the front and the overdrive in the rear and tame this amount of overdrive down. It's a lot. I want to say it's like 38%. It'll take us down to the high teens. And I want to see how it feels in the high teens. Because otherwise, I don't really understand what the underdrive and overdrive gears would be for. Because if you put the overdrive in the front and the underdrive in the rear, you'd have like 60%. That seems like a lot. Hey, maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out. What did we find out today? 68% effective. And I'm not gonna attack it too much, because 68% effectivity, well, there it is right there. 68% effectivity with no additional cost. You just move the parts over. Oh, right, and fabricate your own servo bracket. If you're not in the position to fabricate your own servo bracket, it's gonna cost you $80. You like how it just it just eventually unclicked on its own? Fun on a bun. 68%. The Axial Gilamon. Can you dig it? You can get 68% for free and some fabrication time, or you can get, I would imagine, 68% for $80. But then you'd still have that ASD, which works about 50% of the time. It's too much math already. I don't regret the time spent. I prefer the way it is now. Still not happy about it. We'll see if we can get there. It's not a problem. If you can solve it with money, it's not a problem. Right? Right. Thank you, everyone, one and all, for joining us here in the canyon for this. It's a beautiful semi-overcast day. I really do sincerely wish we were here. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, in the comments below, on the Discord, and in the live streams. All of the things and all of the places. I will see you then and there, and in between now and then. Please, one and all, do your very best. Have a good one, everybody. We will see you again here from the canyon, hopefully real soon.